Ben Howard is now with us. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Of course, the main part of the show will be to talk about Is It, your wonderful new record, but also what went into it in terms of inspiration and experience. That's why I always start the show with the same question to all the guests. What's the oldest memory of music that you can remember?
Wow, the oldest memory. I remember a James Taylor tape actually. Sweet Baby James. I remember my parents used to play that to me as a kid. That's probably one of my earliest memories.
So is this the song that takes you back to your childhood even?
Yeah, very much. That whole record actually. Fire and Rain and all those, it's a record of classics. So yeah.
All right. So to get to know you a little bit better musically, we're going to hear that right now. Here's James Taylor with Sweet Baby James. Here it is.
There is a young cowboy who lives on the range. His horse and his cattle are his only companions. He works in the saddle and he sleeps in the canyons, waiting for summer, his pastures to change. And as the moon rises, he sits by his fire, thinking about women and glasses of beer, and closing his eyes as the doggies retire. He sings out a song which is soft but it's clear, as if maybe someone could hear. Good night, you moonlight ladies, rock-a-bye, sweet baby Jane. Deep greens and blues are the colors I choose. Won't you let me go down in my dreams and rock-a-bye, sweet baby James. Now the 1st of December was covered with snow. So was the turnpike from Stockbridge to Boston. Lord, the Berkshires seemed dreamlike on account of that frosting, with 10 miles behind me and 10,000 more to go. There's a song that they sing when they take to the highway, a song that they sing when they take to the sea, a song that they sing of their home in the sky. Maybe you can believe it if it helps you to sleep, but singing works just fine for me. So good night, you moonlight ladies, rock-a-bye, sweet baby James. Deep greens and blues are the colors I choose. Won't you let me go down in my dreams and rock-a-bye, sweet baby James.
Ben Howard is with us tonight. Hey, you just released a new record. It's called Is It? But before we get into that, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Enjoying a trip around Europe at the moment. We have been in Berlin for a couple of days, and the sun's been shining. It's been really fantastic actually. Everyone's in very good spirits.
Nice. Has the question "How are you?" a different meaning to you?
In what sense?
In the sense that in the last year you suffered 2 TIYs. Transient ischemic attacks. It's called mini strokes, and I just wanted to know if the question "How are you?" does mean anything different to you now.
Yeah, I suppose at times you sort of. It always depends who's asking you and how they look at you when they say it. There's a lot of different ways to say "How are you?" There's very intense "How are you?"
Yeah,
are you all right? And and how are you in passing? I don't know. I try not to let it kind of dictate too much of my current life. It was certainly a moment there where "How are you?" kind of definitely meant something different.
And it did have a bit of an effect on your lifestyle. I know that you stopped smoking after the diagnosis. Are there other changes you made regarding your health or your lifestyle after the strokes?
Yeah, I think to be to be a little bit more self-conscious and to perhaps slow down a little and not I think take stock of your ambitions and where you are in life and what you want to achieve. We're all on such a kind of treadmill towards something we're not really sure what it is, but I think we'll put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and whether that was part of what had happened to me, it certainly made me take stock and be a little more self-aware and certainly appreciative of the people around me. Yeah.
Sometimes all it takes is hanging out in a garden by the sunshine, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
Of course, you were already working on the new album on time that it occurred. How far in the album making process were you already? And were there changes made to the music or the lyrics as a direct response to your condition?
Yeah, I think lyrically, certainly, I kind of ended up leaning on a lot of the experience, and I found it quite hard to get away from it in terms of writing and content. It felt quite pivotal. But we hadn't gone in the studio yet. I'd written most of the record, but we went in the studio pretty much a month afterwards, 6 weeks afterwards. So the studio, the daily nature of the studio changed because of it. Like it was quite a relaxed, informal studio visit. I'd sleep in the afternoons and stuff, and we'd piece together what fragments of music we had. But most of the music was written beforehand, and some of it came together in the studio with the band as well. But yeah, I suppose lyrically, I've talked about it before. Actually, is the choice of songs are really kind of what stuck with me and felt like a knock-on effect. The actual the 10 songs that remained seemed to just really summarize that kind of 6-month chapter, and so I felt really confident that those are the 10 songs to roll with.
Cool. Speaking of the studio, it's called Le Manoir de Léon. It's a recording studio in the south of France. A beautiful old country house 15 minutes away from the beach with table tennis, basketball, swimming pool, and lots of possibilities of leisure.
Luxury.
How important is it for you to have some kind of escape during the recording process? Or are you just...
I think it's nice always to sort of get out of the studio. But it depends, studios change. Like, I think it's amazing to have outdoor space. We were in a kind of heat wave at the time. It was about 40 degrees. So it was kind of stifling, actually. To be in the studio was the safest place to be. Whether it was extreme temperatures or like really dramatic thunderstorms, we kind of hid in the studio and enjoyed being in the studio. I think also you feel guilty if you're not sort of maximizing music time. I tend not to play much table tennis.
Unfortunately. Let's hear another song from the record. How about the first single? In the song, you sing about sitting in the garden when something strange happens to you that you cannot quite explain. The lyric is, "Wish I knew how to tell you the mess I'm in." Is this you talking about the stroke that's happening right in that moment?
I suppose it could be, yeah. Certainly interpret. I suppose that's the most literal song of the record. I felt like it kind of alluded to other things as well. I'm always sort of fairly vague. I think purposely vague when it comes to writing. Aware that there's always ulterior meanings that are just around the corner. But that was kind of close to, I suppose there is a duality in that sentence, but that's half of it, I suppose.
All right, let's hear the song. It's called Couldn't Make It Up off of Ben Howard's new record, Is It?
Couldn't I make it up? Sitting in the garden, listen to the radio, sitting there for me. Wish I knew how to tell you the mess I'm in. Love is at the final song, strangeness passing deep inside it. What's with the face, with the half-mask frown? If I give up, do I give up now? What's with the face, with the half-mask frown? If I give up, do I give up now? Good night, getting out alive. What's it to me anyhow? Color shifting like a landslide. So many times I say myself in the breaker yard. Love is at the final sound. Now I see the fear in your eyes. What's with the face, with the half-mask frown? If I give up, do I give up now? What's with the face, with the half-mask frown? Whistling wind, strange to me. Whistling wind, oh, whistling wind, strange to me. Whistling wind, strange to me. Whistling wind, oh, whistling wind, strange to me. Couldn't make it up. Sitting in the garden, listen to the radio, mumbling the words like the first time wrong. Wish I knew the words to this song. Love is at the final song. Now I see the feeling you is long.
And Howard is our guest tonight on egoFM Privataudienz. I want to talk about your teenage years. You are slightly older than me, but we both grew up without streaming services. Were you a CD buyer? Were you a downloader? Did you listen to the radio, recording it on tapes? What kind of music consumer were you back in your teenage years?
Yeah, I was a good boy. I bought CDs. I used to enjoy, going to HMV and, going into, always lived out in the countryside, so we'd go into that town centre and, even a local town didn't have a CD shop really. So we'd go into one of the bigger cities and go to HMV and buy some CDs. That was kind of where I got music from. The odd tape, the odd little bootleg tape, but mostly CDs.
Sure. Yeah, I remember I grew up in the countryside as well. My record store was a local drugstore. That's where you can buy CDs back in the days. Of course, music is such a huge part in the life of a teenager. A lot of songs start to feel very personal and important to you for various reasons. Was there one song in your adolescent years that you would say always had your back? A song that you went for always?
One song, I suppose, no secret. I'm been a huge John Martin fan ever since I was a kid, and that kind of got handed down to me. So it wasn't necessarily a CD I bought, but throughout my teen years, I had Solid Air on repeat. I had that on repeat a lot, and that was kind of really the cornerstone of why I played guitar, even why I made songs. Small Hours was always a song that I still come back to and just can't believe how perfect that song is.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. So let's hear that song chosen by Ben Howard.
Walking the line and you've been living on solid. Don't know what's going wrong inside, and I can tell you that it's hard to hide when you're living on solid. You've been painting in blue and you've been looking through. And you've been looking through solid. Don't know what's going wrong in your mind, and I can tell you that what did you find when you're moving through solid. I know you, I love you, and I can be a friend like a follow you in there. Even through solid. You've been stoning and cold, you've been living on solid. Finding and cold, you've been living on solid air. I don't know what's going on inside. I can tell you that it's hard to hide when you're living on solid air. Solid air. You've been getting too deep, you've been living on solid. You've been missing your sleep and you've been moving through solid. I don't know what's going on in your mind, but I know you don't like what you find when you're moving through solid air. Solid air. I know you, I love you, I'll be a friend I could follow you anywhere. Even through solid air. You've been walking your line, you've been walking on solid air. You've been taking your time, but you've been walking on solid air. Don't know what's going wrong inside, but I can tell you that it's hard to hide when you're living on solid air. Solid air. Painted in blue, you've been living on solid air. You've been seeing it through and you've been living on solid air. I don't know what's going on in your mind, but I can tell you don't like what you find when you're living on solid air. Solid air. I know you, I love you, I'm how
Ben Howard on egoFM Privataudienz tonight. The new record, Is It, is out now. What do you like most about it?
What do I like most? I like the fact that kind of in its weird warped way, it's a guitar record. I like the kind of kineticness of it. I like the kind of the pace and the small quirks and the sort of, the detail we went into on a lot of the percussive tracks. Like every now and then I hear a glimpse, and it reminds me of what was a really great studio time. We did a time in Real World Studios as well, and that was I got so many fond memories of us all being in together there. Like really had a great moment. So every little, there's Raven has these lovely little violin parts on the record. Whenever I hear them, it really makes me picture that room.
Cool. Who's the guy on the cover?
The guy on the cover. Yes, good question. Really, I don't know. That was a kind of Braulio Amado. That was his. I left the artwork very much up to Braulio, and he just sort of he riffed on a lot of stuff, and it kind of really spoke. I don't know. It just seemed quite striking and engaging.
I really like the cover. The guy looks very cool to me.
Yeah, there was a sadder version, and we did get tweaked, so it was slightly happier.
It's good you made him happy. Yeah, I figure you just turned the frown to a smile.
A little up in the corners. Yeah.
You worked with producer Bullion. He's a producer and an electronic musician. He's known for his remarkable sampling style in electronic productions. Not so kind of an obvious choice for a work partner, is it?
Well, I think, I had friends who had worked with Bullion and I'd enjoyed their records. So for me, it felt like quite an obvious departure or extension. We had a couple of meetings and quite quickly realized we were, in the same camp with a lot of stuff. Actually, one of the big ones was bonding over a lot of John Martin records. Nathan had done a whole NTS radio shows of John Martin specifically, and a lot of folk, a lot of there was a lot of crossover. So it didn't feel like a stretch of the imagination for sure. It felt quite natural.
Also, a big part of the record is, I feel, sampling and electronic details happening in the record. For example, in the song Days of Lantana, where's the samples from, especially in that song?
That's Linda Thompson. That's Linda Thompson singing in French. Singing an old, I guess it's a French ballad, I suppose. The three beautiful birds of paradise. It's a Linda Thompson record that Nathan had in the studio. He plays a lot of records and samples straight off vinyl onto sort of pitch shifting wheels and stuff. So that was it was a good fun day. That.
Yeah, cool. Would you say you are easy or difficult to work with from maybe Bullion's perspective?
You have to ask Bullion. Just kind of, I don't know. We got on great.
Okay.
And I've really appreciated working with him. But I don't know. I think I'm pretty easy to work with these days.
You seem very laid back. I really enjoy our talk. Hey, let's listen.
I'm literally lying back trying to get in the shake here, cooking.
Let's listen to Days of Lantana from your new record.
Agatha and I go down to the courtyard slinging last year's Sundays in the river time. Agatha and I go down to the Citadel Sunday, red church bells and the moon on the rise. tell her days are numbered. I'd break the teeth in your fake ass smile. Maybe in a rare one, maybe in a month of Sundays, maybe in a war I would still read the wrong signs. But I don't mind it, being in the darkness, baby. To be by your side, I would walk the Nile twice. Days of Lantana, each saint with a cross and a hammer. Radiation of the Cherenkov kind. So we go walking, birds at the window talking, jubilation in the painted shine. And I go down to the citadel when things are gracious, they came to mind. Gather in the day and some make arrangements, some know the way and they just walk a straight line. Well, Curly's a baker's boy, living for the harvest nights. Turns to me, says something like the world only turns twice. Once for the laughter, once for the memories after. All the rest is just kicking through the weather and the fines. So we go dancing, well, twist turns and all things fancy. I blame the baker boy, that's what I had on my mind. You in the here now, me in the far bar. I'd wait forever if they gave me enough time. Outside walking on, birds at the window talking, iterations of the changing shine.
Ben Howard, you are such a great and skilled guitarist. Do you have a favorite guitarist yourself?
Oh, I'd have to say, yeah, I've a lot of favorite guitarists. You know, like John Fahey and stuff, and obviously John Martin's and that folk scene. But you know, currently, in the modern era, I love Saint Vincent. I love how she plays the guitar. I love the sort of freedom of expression and the constant burrowing for new sounds. So yeah, I'm always very much in awe of her.
Yeah, she's great. What song do you want to play now?
I love New York. It hasn't got much guitar on it, but I love that song.
Yeah, that's a great song. Cool, I'm in for it.
New York isn't New York without you, love. So far in a few blocks to be so low. And if I saw you from First Avenue. We're the only motherfucker in the city who can handle me. New love wasn't true love. Back to you, love. So much for a home run with some blue bloods. If I last drawed you on 8th Avenue, we're the only motherfucker in the city who can stand me. I have lost a hero, I have lost a friend, but for you, darling, I do it all again. I have lost a hero, I have lost a friend, but for you, darling, I do it all again. New York isn't New York without you, love. Too few of our old crew left on Astor. So if I trade out for some Hollywood, we're the only motherfucker in the city who would, only motherfucker in the city who would, only motherfucker in the city who forgive me. I have lost a hero, I have lost a friend, but for you, darling, I do it all again. I have lost a hero, I have lost a friend, but for you, darling, I do it all again.
Ben Howard, we just talked about your guitar skills. Let's talk guitars. How many guitars do you think you have in your collection, or are you just sticking to the one?
It's a very personal question.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I've got a few. I've got probably more than I need. Someone did comment the other day that I seem to change guitar, more regularly than most on stage. I have a lot of different tunings and a lot of different sound choices. So I have too many. Is the honest answer.
But do you have a favorite one, or is it like with children? You just love every guitar equally?
I do have a favorite. Yeah, I have a 1920s little Martin Parlor guitar that was on collections quite a lot. Actually, Buzzard and Rookery and stuff. I wrote a lot of them on a little Parlor guitar that I'd carry around with me. That's the winner. Hope they're not listening.
When and where do you feel most inspired or creative?
I think I'm always on a quest to sort of find those areas. I don't think that I have a kind of categoric answer. I think there's this restlessness involved in searching and just kind of keeping your ear and your kind of heart open to, whether it's a place or a situation, or like what speaks to you. I don't have any rules. I think the most important thing is not to have a favorite place, is to be to be fluid and not give yourself a hard time and not put a sticker on it, really. Just wait for the moment to strike and make sure you've got a pen, even though you never have a pen and everything goes on your phone. But I don't know. I think, state of mind is probably the most important factor there.
We here at egoFM hope you have many creative strikes in the future. Thank you so much for doing this.
I'll try my best. Well, thank you. Yeah,
thanks for taking your time, and I don't want to disturb your relaxed afternoon anymore.
I'll get up and do some work.
But I want to end the show with one last song from the record. I think it's my favorite from the record. It's called Life in the Time. Are you okay with that?
Oh, wow. Yeah, great.
All right. So thank you so much, and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Cheers.
How was I to know? Kinship that in the river, it's a climbing when we go through 2 by 2. Not asking why. How was I to sin? Happen time and